what I wanted to introduce is the Shape ReClaimed program. The Shape ReClaimed program is something a number of years ago that I saw success from people around our area, and I said, man, these people really look different. You know, they've changed their life. What are they doing? So I looked into it and found out there was a chiropractic developed program. And he is a nutritionist as well, and so he developed this program mainly for his wife too, I believe. And it uses very safe, natural homeopathic drops, and then it's a lifestyle change. So we're going to get into what that means. But typically what we want to make sure everyone realizes is that there's toxins in our environment. There's toxins everywhere, okay? And our bodies are under attack. You know, we're under attack by all these factors: stress, toxins, and our thoughts. But when we do the Shape program, what we're trying to do is we're really trying to reduce inflammation. That's kind of the number one goal. So someone say, hey, I don't know if the Shape ReClaimed program is for me. Well, if you have extra inflammation, it's probably for you. If you feel like you need to get rid of toxins, it's for you. I have a number of patients who have autoimmune diseases and autoimmune problems. If your immunity is if you feel like you're always getting sick or you have autoimmune issues, this can be for you. A lot of people think when it's Shape ReClaimed or it's just a diet program to lose weight, definitely you will do that. But it's shedding that toxic weight as a side effect of taking care of yourself in the right ways. And we hope that it's something that can continually be a lifestyle that you can build into our phases. We have phases with this program in which it can be something you can continue to do for a lifetime in some degree or another. Of course, this starts off more intensive. Michelle will probably talk on, or maybe share a little bit about that. So let's just talk about where poisons or toxins come from, just so we can all kind of have our heads in the game of why do we need to do a spring cleaning, a spring cleanse. I set this one up because it's spring. So where do they come from? Well, as you kind of could assume from our foods we eat, of course, it's going to come from the air we breathe, the people we know, the thoughts we think, and the fat we store. You know, we get a water, food, and air, main sources. We can have toxic thoughts and poisons from just, you know, our thoughts, the people around us, and obviously our fat itself. The more we store that, the more toxins are just sitting there in our body, not being expelled. So that's where these poisons are going to come from. This program is there to try to help eliminate these things in some degree or another. I love this. This is a guy that developed the program. He had this saying that God created food for human life and man created food for shelf life. Our food was created to be a monetary means of capitalism, not to support our bodies, at least the foods that are mostly out there. We need to use food as fuel. Food as fuel is the biggest thing. This kind of list I like to put up because when you're talking about inflammation, people say, I might be inflamed. If you've looked at and watched anything in the news, chronic inflammation is a big problem, but the solution isn't just more ibuprofen, all right? That will kill your liver and your kidneys, and you'll have more problems than you started with. But inflammation, chronic inflammation, could be showing up as a number of things. It could be just skin issues, acne. It could be anxiety. You could have anxiety due to inflammation in your body, asthma, chest pain, chronic coughs, diabetes, food allergies, headaches. You know, this list goes on, but a lot of these conditions that you see on here could be due to inflammation. And the way that can be dealt with, one of the large ways, is through our diet, is what we're putting into our bodies. Irritable bowel issues, joint pain and stiffness, all these things, okay? Sinus issues, I think about everyone seems to have those right now. Allergies can be part of it a little bit. We try to bring this up as kind of a philosophy, but the target here of health is ultimately to get to that bullseye. The bullseye is really that bio-individuality. We're all unique. Not any one of us has the exact same need as another person in certain ways, based on our experiences, our genetics, our family history, the things, the traumas and toxins we've been exposed to, all require something unique. But if we try to take a basic approach to this, the Shape ReClaimed program is first going to take a pH-based approach. I mean, are you acidic? Is your pH in balance in your body, or is it out of balance? If your pH is out of balance, your body is already under attack. We use Simply Minerals, which we talk about next month, honestly, to help combat that. So part of the Shape program, I've done what we call with the support way, meaning that there's someone who looks at things every week with you. Your urine is attested. That program is going to be somewhere where someone's checking your pH every week with that, at least for 4 weeks. And that will kind of be our first step. Our stress, the stresses we're under, is kind of the next layer of this. You know, if we're pulling layers away, first is just kind of get your body under some balance, your pH. The next is how do we have it handle stress? There are some basic things we do for stress with supplementation and other things like that to try to help your body then peel that layer off, which is where we get to the detoxification. Ultimately, your immunity can be at a really deep level of where it's being dysfunctioned, but the key is to continue to work through these layers through the program. It takes time. It could take years. I mean, ultimately years. But we use this as kind of our first step of saying, hey, what are we trying to attack and help with? And the person, Lisa, who monitors people through this process, is looking at these layers and trying to work through those things. But this is kind of our philosophy of health. The Shape program ultimately, if we had to describe it simply, is it's a health restoration program. We want to restore your health. It's a lifestyle modification. Ultimately, if we're trying to help your body become less inflamed, we need to help you in modifying what you're used to doing and helping that body restore itself. We want to help use food as fuel. We want food to be the healing method. We use the only product that's really that you'd be paying for with this program would be the Shape Drops. The Shape Drops are very, very intricate in how they work, but they're based to help your nervous system, your brain first, start to change some of the hormones that are being produced for hunger, for cravings, for detoxification. Ultimately, also trying to help reduce inflammation, help with detoxification, and helping to lessen the side effects when people go from eating a certain way to eating a new way. The body definitely tries to revolt. So these drops can help balance that out a little bit. And very simple, very safe. People say, I'm on medication. It's not a problem. These drops definitely do not interact with medications. They're homeopathic, which just means that it's nanomolecular. It's a very different type of technology in which we're trying to change the energy of each cell versus trying to force it with a medicine or even an herb. We're not really trying to force your body with an herb here. We're trying to help your body do the healing. We're just waking it back up with these drops. What to know about it also with the program, it's not a diet or really a weight loss program. It's going to be practitioner monitored, and you're going to have some one-on-one support to try to help through this changing of lifestyle and changing of what you're eating, as well as reading your urine, which is the big difference here, to let it know what it's telling us. We might find out if you are just starving yourself. These drops are kind of have an appetite suppressant to them to some degree, and some people just feel like, I wasn't even really hungry today. But we do want to maintain some food because your body will go in starvation mode eventually, and then it will not shed any more of the toxic fat, and it will start to cause kind of an opposite reaction. So we can read that through the urine. We can read a lot of other things, but that's part of that thing. We're hoping just lifelong habits and skills are learned. Some you'll maintain forever. Some you might drop off or bring back. This is just kind of something that you kind of reintroduce to yourself a lot at different times throughout the year, more intensely, and then you bring yourself to a balance. But the intense program is the best to start off with for at least a month. We're trying to get to the underlying causes of most health problems ultimately. People who do the Shape program, they're going to see some benefits. Typically, allergies are reduced. Cholesterol goes down significantly pretty quickly. Inflammation obviously reduces. We're hoping that if done properly, some people are able to talk to their doctor about reducing their medications and their dependency on those things. Pain obviously is reduced when inflammation is. A lot of times weight for sure too is as well. The Shape program is going to see some good changes when it comes to blood pressure, and we can reduce stress on the whole system. It's not working so hard to just get oxygen around. The blood pressure can reduce down, blood sugar becomes more stable, digestion is improved, energy is improved. Even though we probably suggest people trying to go off coffee and things like that, you'll find more energy not being on coffee. It will rob you the nutrients that you need for energy. It gives you that stimulus or that stimulant, but then it robs you of the things that you need to just maintain that. So being less dependent upon those kind of things is huge. The program itself, may not be for everyone. This is kind of, most people are going to benefit to some degree. If you're pregnant, we'd suggest not. Eating disorders, we really have to have a talk about it. Currently under chemo radiation, you might have to be careful with some of those things. Monitoring from things, if you are diabetic and things like that, do need to be monitored. But majority of people can do this pretty easily. I had Michelle come because Michelle's done the program, and I figured I can talk all about it, but it's more important to hear it from someone who's done it and could share with us a little bit about kind of what things you've experienced and stuff. Michelle, do you mind coming up here? So this is Michelle. Say hi.
Hello.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you for doing this, because a lot of times people are going to say, well, this all sounds good, but has it really, has it benefited? And and so your being here is huge. First question I just wanted to have is what would you say was your first reaction kind of to the program itself? The thought of doing something like this. Tell me what was going on that made you say I'm going to do it, or also made you concerned about doing it?
So the first thing was when I started seeing Dr. Nate in November, he couldn't crack hardly anything on me because there was so much inflammation in my body. And also being a breast cancer survivor, helping to get with, I wanted to reduce the meds that caused the joint pain and just overall have better health and energy and less inflammation. Because like Dr. Nate said, a lot of the inflammation does create some of the other problems that you have. So that was definitely the big push. I mean, I had already started kind of eating differently with the mindset that I needed to make some changes. And then when he brought it up, I was like, okay, this is something that I need to do.
The first step, probably when we talk about inflammation and diet, a lot of times too, this program is definitely a big reboot. I mean, you're gonna take away a lot of grains. You're gonna take away anything packaged or processed, pretty much. Rather than some crackers, you do get special crackers. The thing is, kind of remember is, if you're trying to work towards something better, doing a cleanse. I don't know if you ever want to watch any of the. There's a movie. Two brothers did a fast, and I can't remember what it is, but they did like a 40-day something. But they actually prepped up to even doing the fast by cleaning their body a little bit. So first thing, like if you're saying, where do I even start? First is usually get more water. Start drinking more water. That'd be number one. The number two would be trying to say, remove all processed foods if you can. I think that would be my number two. I'd probably say, hey, first you have to eat it out of your house. Go ahead. Just get rid of it. Don't buy more. Just get rid of it from your house. Then you start to replace probably things that you had been eating with better foods. That's kind of the next step. So it's like, okay, well, I used to have ice cream in the evening. I'm going to make maybe even like some nut butter and some apples, or I'm going to start making some choice of some smoothies or something that could be a lot better of a choice. So replacing this for that. And then as you start to make some of those changes, you'll definitely see benefits. What this is going to do is kind of be that next bigger boost. Right? So you kind of been making choices, and then you went and started this program.
Right.
What was probably the hardest thing right away, would you say? So people kind of know, like, what was the hardest to get used to with it?
I think coffee was the hardest.
Really?
Yeah. I still don't have any cravings for any carbohydrates.
Wow.
Like, I'm not like, oh, I want to eat bread. Like, I can go to a restaurant, Texas Roadhouse, and not even want to eat their rolls, or like chips and salsa. I don't even won't even eat the chips now.
The coffee was a big. Now, did you stop coffee right out, like just?
Not right off the bat. I did a little bit,
taper it down,
and then started drinking more tea, and then now coffee I use as a treat. So the sugar wasn't really hard. Every once in a while now, I'll eat a little something, but it's not like I would have, instead of a cookie, I would have maybe 4 cookies, and because when you eat those things like the carbohydrates and the sugar, your body craves it more. Like, there's chemicals in the food that cause your body to want more of it. So just eliminating that kind of eliminated the need for it.
And so hopefully the drops can kind of help cusp that. You've got those challenges. Did you find that there's some things that just, when you did have them again, that like didn't even taste as good as they used to? Like they didn't have the same.
Yeah, like I did have like one little piece of a donut one day, and I'm like, ooh, that was even I was like, that doesn't even taste good.
But a lot of times our food does release certain dopamine in our bodies. There's a lot of reasons that we'll eat certain things, but when those can start to be disassociated either from the chemical release or even the psychological connection, that you can go without that, those are the changes that really can be more life sustaining. So you did the fast track, or at least the basic cleanse, for how long?
I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks. And did you see some changes physically with your body in that amount of time? What were some of the things you noticed?
My weight loss. There's definitely been some weight loss. I have a torn meniscus that I've been dealing with for a couple years, and I don't have the pain in my knee anymore because it's not carrying all that extra weight. Other things I've noticed, again, like I teach school, and I have not had to call in a day sick.
Oh, yeah.
So this whole year. So
that's awesome. Anything you would want to just share to people to kind of just help them understand what you think could benefit them, or what you would like? Any closing remarks on?
I would just say, if I wouldn't have tried it, I wouldn't have known. And for me, even though some of my friends said it was harder for them, I felt like it was an easy transition for me because I'd started to mentally prepare and already started to change my eating habits in the process. But not getting sick, having more energy, just overall, like not having joint pain, overall feeling better, and losing weight in the process.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All the benefit.
Yeah, it's real life, real people that, they put in the work. You do have to kind of be mentally ready to do it. I think to be able, the first thing is just knowing that this is the choice you need to make, and you're going to be all in. And that sometimes is hard. And that's why we do, one of the programs that we sell has support, because it's pretty easy to jump out on our own. Yeah. So I would say that if we have part of a program where you can do it yourself, but I would say it's been a lot less effective than when people do it with support. Pay for the support, but I think you're getting your money back as an investment, because you're going to see the results that you see and you want to maintain.